Good morning, folks, and welcome back to Almus Market Mornings. It's deals after deals. At least that's what President Trump's visit to Asia has constituted. Ahead of his meeting with the Chinese president, Trump has signed a few deals with South Asian countries like Malaysia, Cambodia, as well as some frameworks of a deal with Thailand and Vietnam. There are some clear wins for the US, like removal of barriers, but not so much for the countries themselves. One such example is the South Korean deal, which was signed much earlier, which had a clause for a $350 billion investment into the US, but has no stable manner of being implemented without causing market havoc. There's already an exodus of capital from the retail investors of the country who hold about $180 billion in foreign assets. Good morning, JK. Lots happening on Trump's Asian visit, but markets seem quieter except for volatility in specific areas. What do you make of yesterday's moves? I mean, even Rupee especially had a surprise weakness during the day.
Good morning, Swaraj. Okay, first of all, on the rupee, I think inability of rupee to sustain its gains was, chiefly responsible. And we did have modest outflows, but then when the central bank did not appear to defend the rupee at 87.90 levels, so there was some short covering in the dollar as well that led to slightly exaggerated move, I would say, towards 88, 27, 28 levels. And this is despite the fact that most of the Asian currencies were stronger. The Chinese yuan fixing was also lower. It continues to be lower even today. And there is a general, improvement in the risk sentiment, including the Indian equities. But the rupee has been charting its own course. So we can say that rupee is still unable to sustain a turnaround in its underperformance. And I think that continues, particularly if you consider the fact that except for good news, or rather the possible good news on the trade, we are still not seeing flows turning in favor of the rupee. While FIS selling has stopped, there is no fresh buying that leads to inflows that has been seen. So I would think the rupee is still a bit vulnerable for any shocks, or if there is a positive environment, its gains are limited. That is how it continues to be going forward as well. Of course, we will see if there is any more dovish statement from Powell apart from the expected 0.25% rate cut or even the QT ending, whether that helps, the fund flow back into India. That is something I'm waiting to see. On Trump's visits, I think it's significant because he has been achieving quite a few trade deals with Asian countries. And what is happening is that, he is achieving more reciprocal trade, more purchase of US exports by these countries, and commitments for larger investments as well, particularly countries like Korea and Japan. He's already met even the PM in waiting in Japan. So there is a huge amount of investment that is expected from Japan as well, just like Korea. 550 billion is what is expected. And in of course, Japan is also expected to increase their defense budget, which is one of the demands from the US side as well. Overall, I think the uh, point to note is how far these agreements will be eventually implemented, because it's all just on paper as of now, and that is what will determine how things move going forward. As of now, market is looking at all this with a positive eye, so that is why we have seen even the US markets, the stock markets particularly, once again end on a new high and continue to influence the sentiment in other markets as well. And we have, of course, quite a few central bank meetings that are coming up now. Bank of Canada tomorrow expected to cut rate, followed by Fed another 0.25, Fed statements and the QT decision will also be very closely seen. ECB is also meeting, then Bank of Japan, which is another crucial event to look forward to, because they have been, for some pretext or the other, pushing down the rate hike prospects for Japan. So with the new PM in, and also not really supporting a stronger yen. Possibly one more postponement is likely on Japan, which will be actually welcome the equity markets, but not so much by the Japanese consumers, who are really now struggling with high inflation. And that's the reason why Japanese Prime Minister has also proposed a huge fiscal stimulus of 90 plus billion in after she has been chosen. So overall, global markets remain in a positive risk sentiment, based on the Trump's signing of deals with various countries. And of course, there is also a positive development in one of the South American countries, that is Argentina, which has been struggling with a deep downturn in the economy and high inflation of about 100%. So the election there has thrown up a new PM, who is likely to indulge in huge structural reforms. So why we are mentioning is that it's one of those areas which was also a concern, because there are banks which have exposure to these countries. So the moment these economies start to stabilize, I think the risk element is reduced. So as I said, the risk sentiment continues to be positive. We go ahead into the Tuesday's trade with once again some private data on the US economy. The conference board's consumer confidence expected to slip slightly again, and then Case-Shiller's pricing house price data, which is also another indicator that we look forward to. And yes, we don't have any update from the government department, as the shutdown has now entered the fifth week, and which, of course, despite its negative impact on the economy, markets continue to ignore also. So that is where Powell's view on the economy in the face of shutdown matters a lot. Overall, on the dollar, it continues to slightly grind lower now, because of its inability to sustain gains of after the last week's push lower in the euro, and also the push higher in the USD yen. So we are seeing once again the range movement in the dollar continue, waiting for fresh cues, either from the Fed or perhaps from the US-China deal, which is just 2 days away. I don't know whether a deal will be signed, but the outcome is definitely looked forward to with great interest. Thank you.
Thank you, JK. And I think the key thing is that as of now, markets across the world are quite positive because of the risk sentiment, the strong risk sentiment that's built because of the trade deals and the negotiations that are happening on the Trump's visit to Asia. Of course, I think it will accumulate with Trump meeting with the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, and whether the China deal is signed. That's what markets are sort of looking forward to. Otherwise, when it comes to our domestic markets, Rupee had a big reversal, weekend past 88 towards 88.30. And this is despite other Asian pairs being quite strong versus the dollar. At the same time, Indian equities were also doing well. So I think that's basically inability of Rupee also to appreciate more than 87.60 levels. Otherwise, central bank meetings to look forward to on the markets front. Bank of Canada, Fed, BOJ, and ECB up ahead. That's it from us today. Thanks for listening.
Raj, significant correction in gold yesterday. It
Yes, yes, absolutely.
came below psychological
4,000.
4,000, and of course it's interesting to see whether the central banks re-enter buying from the buying side once again, because that's a key support for gold. Otherwise, longs will feel discomfort, and you can see some more bailing out of longs. But I guess around 3,900 strong buying should emerge.
3,900, yep.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and a very significant correction, both gold and silver yesterday.
Yes.
So I think it was about 3%, which gold lost more than 3% actually. And
From the peak, I think both have corrected more than 10% now.
right,
Well over
yes,
10%.
yes.
Yes.
From the
Yes.
peak, well over 10%, both have corrected. Uh,
Yes.
and it's at psychological level, gold especially $4,000. Let's see what happens. So 3,900, right, JK? That's the level to work out for.
Yes. Correct. Short term. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So that's it from us today. Thanks for listening. We'll catch up tomorrow with the fresh round of updates.